and thank you for joining us here tonight on Halton News. It's Thursday, August 27th, and I'm Jessica Kading. 7 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Halton since yesterday. That breaks down to 9 cases in Burlington, 9 in Oakville, 11 in Milton, and Halton Hills is still reporting 0 infections. There was a meeting last night for public school parents with the new released dates of starting school and all kinds of other information. To sum it up, Nikki Wesley reports.
With new information still coming in, like the new federal funding for schools announced earlier this week, the Halton District School Board held a virtual session last night for families to inform them of the most up-to-date plan. Director of Education, Stuart Miller.
The challenge around organizing our schools is immense. As I said in an email some time ago, we start staffing our schools in March. We have now got about a week to do the same job that takes us 4 or 5 months. So with that, I can tell you that we will be delaying the commencement of school. We are targeting a date for September 14th, which is the Monday after the first official week of school. We are hopeful and intending on bringing small groups of students in their cohorts the week prior to the 14th so that we can go over some health protocols and work with them. And for our special needs students, we will be contacting those parents directly because those students we will be getting into school earlier so that they can learn and understand what they have to do for many of our students with the greatest needs.
Mandatory masking ages have now expanded to include grades 1 through 12. Masks for kindergarten students are not mandatory but still recommended. There will be opportunities for mask breaks during the school day, at recess, during outdoor instruction time, and when physical distancing is possible in the classroom. Superintendent Christina Salmini explains the elementary school's reopening plan for in-person learning.
For our students who are returning in person for the full instructional model, they are going to have a 300 minutes a day of instruction, as they always have, with regular school hours. All of our students will be experiencing the full Ontario curriculum for all subject areas in this model. They will remain in one cohort, so a homeroom class, during their day of instruction, and any staff that would be teaching the class will be the ones that move. I will note also that we are trying to limit the number of teacher contacts for every homeroom class and cohort as much as possible, and so that will be built into the schedule. We will preserve these cohorts for breaks, so when they go outside, we will be keeping them in the cohort that they have inside. We are really encouraging enhanced learning opportunities outdoors for our students in this model. We will schedule washroom and hand hygiene breaks before and after breaks during the day, and entry and dismissal routines will be revised to reduce contact, and individual schools will be communicating this prior to the first day of school, what that will look like for those classes in individual schools.
The full distance model will now include students from several different schools in one Google Classroom.
And our plan is to replicate as much as possible what our students in physical school will be experiencing during this model. They will also have access within a 300-minute day in their Google Classroom. The duration of synchronous learning will vary, are 180 synchronous minutes of learning for kindergarten students, with 225 synchronous minutes for grades 1 to 8. In terms of French immersion, we'll make every effort to provide instruction in French for our students that are in French immersion. If that is not possible due to the requests and staffing, students will be able to return when they return to a physical school into the French immersion program, even if they haven't had it in the distance model. But our goal is to provide French immersion in our virtual schools as well.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
Halton Region's Medical Officer of Health and Commissioner Dr. Hamida Magani explains what will happen if a student at school presents symptoms of COVID-19.
COVID-19 at school. Our guidance advises that staff member immediately separate the student from others. A staff member should then supervise the student in a designated room or space, which they should disinfect once the student leaves. The student's parent or guardian should be contacted to pick the student up immediately. Students with symptoms and their siblings must be picked up and taken home. Students with symptoms must self-isolate at home and be referred for testing. Household members, including siblings, must also self-isolate at home. To return to school, they will need to self-isolate for 14 days or be medically assessed and cleared by a physician to return to school or show negative test results. If test results are negative, the student may return to school after being symptom-free for 24 hours. If a student or staff member tests positive for COVID-19, Halton Region Public Health will notify the individual and school and provide further information on contact tracing and outbreak management, and we will endeavor to maintain confidentiality. Anyone who is confirmed positive must have clearance from public health in order to return to school. The decision to shut down a classroom or school will depend on what we find during our risk assessment. We look at what's the likelihood that a confirmed case got the infection at the school and what their presence or activities at the school during the time when they may have been able to transmit disease to others was like. We'll also work with schools to provide appropriate communication to everyone involved.
Further, Ontario Education Minister Stephen Lecce assures parents that they will be informed promptly and that the proper protocols are in place.
You will know very quickly if your child has come into contact with someone who is tested positive for COVID-19. The Premier and I have been clear throughout this entire outbreak. We want you to know what we know. It's why our playbook, if you will be available on the ontario.ca website momentarily for all parents and all educators. Now, parents, we know you have a tough choice to make, but know that if your child returns to school, they will be safe. As we've always said, we will continue to respect the choice and authority of parents, the choice of whether to enroll their children for in-school instruction, the choice of determining when and if they feel comfortable with their child re-entering schools during the year, and the expectation and delivery of live, online, teacher-led, synchronous, Zoom-style learning for their child when.
I was also able to connect with Oakville's MPP Stephen Crawford on the new plan for schools this year.
Yeah, well, my understanding is the Halton School Board has pushed back the first day of school, and that's their prerogative. So it's really up to the school board. But what I will say is that we've invested more money to education and schools per capita than any other province. For example, we're spending 5 times the amount of money on COVID-related issues than the government, the NDP government in British Columbia. So we're hiring an additional 500 nurses across the province, 1,100 cleaning staff, and we're also spending additional funds to ensure that we have very good and safe bus service to school this fall. So we're very optimistic about our plan, and we've got the sign off and the approval, and we've consulted with the chief medical officer of the province. So having said that, I think our plan working with the school boards will be effective. And, we're looking forward, obviously, to kids being back in the schoolroom in September.
We also discussed the Made in Ontario initiative confirmed by the Premier earlier this week.
Yeah, Jessica, it's really important because if you recall back in the early days of COVID, when the United States threatened to not put N95 masks across the border to Canada where we needed them, it really put our province and country at a disadvantage. So the Premier, along with the Prime Minister, were in Brockville, Ontario a few days ago, and they announced that they will be investing, along with 3M, in having a manufacturing capacity there to build the N95 masks right here in Ontario. So should any other emergency situation occur, we'll have the manufacturing capacity right here in Ontario. And as you know, we've lost a lot of manufacturing jobs over the last 10 or 15 years, and we want to see those manufacturing jobs come back to Ontario. So we're really excited by this announcement that the Premier and the Prime Minister made just a number of days ago, and that will put our province back on the map, I think, in terms of manufacturing.
A Halton police officer was struck by a stolen Mercedes last night in Burlington. Before that occurred, police had first become involved after hearing that a white Mercedes with extensive damage was driving erratically on the QEW. Officers attended a gas station that the driver of the Mercedes pulled into at Walker's Line and Mainway around 10:30 last night. After speaking with the driver, the officer determined that he was impaired and attempted to arrest him. Instead, the driver hopped back into the vehicle and reversed, leaving the door open, which hit the officer. The driver further reversed into the police cruiser before taking off. Officers were later able to locate the vehicle in the area of Sutherland Drive, and after both the driver and passenger refused to exit the vehicle and attempted to escape, they were both tased. As it turns out, the Mercedes had incorrect plates and had been reported as stolen earlier to another GTA police service. Due to the front end damage, police have reason to believe it was involved in an earlier collision. If you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. The officer who was struck only suffered minor injuries and was not hospitalized. Both the driver and passenger have been arrested and charged with multiple offenses. One is a 29-year-old from Brampton, the other a 32-year-old of Toronto. Back on August 17th, a prisoner had been released from Maplehurst Prison, but it was done in error. Halton police have updated us today that 28-year-old Amripal Singh Ajula was located and arrested in North York. He will now face additional charges in connection with his release and arrest. Oakville has 5 community centers, and they will all be reopened on September 8th for pre-booked activities. If you would like to register for a general activity membership or monthly fitness pass, you can call 905-815-2000. Register for fall programs will begin on September 16th. To see all that the town has to offer this fall, please visit oakville.ca. Oakville's Mayor Rob Burton says the town will continue to ensure the highest level of safety protocols are in place. If a vaccine for COVID-19 was ready today, would you get one? Statistics Canada is asking Canadians that very question. Melissa Candelaria reports.
Statistics Canada has released survey results on Canadians' willingness to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And although nearly 60% of respondents say they are very likely to get one, what has the federal government, including Milton MP Adam Van Koeverden, worried is that 1 in 7 Canadians say they are unlikely to get it. Van Koeverden says he's disappointed there are still some Canadians out there, including right here in Halton, who will refuse the vaccine. He says this is about a collective effort to protect everyone.
We are truly not all safe from COVID-19 until there is a vaccine. And this anti-vaccine rhetoric that's been going on for the past couple of years, thanks to illegitimate science and actually unproven science, like science that has been disproven, not unproven, is really unfortunate because it lowers basically the average IQ of everybody with respect to science and evidence and research on deadly diseases like COVID-19. Vaccines are safe and they prevent disease and they save lives every single day around the world. If it weren't for vaccines, there may not be humans on planet Earth right now. So it's kind of tragic that people are relying on something that they read on Facebook rather than something that they could get from a lifetime researcher. I went to McMaster University, and one of the lead researchers at McMaster University is actually heading up the research on a vaccine and other antimicrobial viruses, diseases, and bacteria. It's an area of research which is complicated, and that's why we rely on experts. And the experts are saying that when there's a vaccine, we'll all be much safer. And I hope that we can rely on Canadians to do their part and protect themselves and everybody else.
Of the Canadians who said they are somewhat unlikely or very unlikely to get the vaccine, the top 2 main reasons were a lack of confidence in its safety and worry over possible side effects. Now, as Chief Public Health Officer of Canada, Dr. Theresa Tam has said this is the first pandemic in an age of the internet and social media. Van Koeverden says it's important now more than ever that we make sure we know the distinction between what is fact and what is fiction.
And it's important that everybody uses that lens of like that genuine lens, trying to identify what is believable and not just believable, because frankly, just be an analyst of where you get your information from. You know, if it's an unvalidated source of information, if it's just a Facebook post or a meme, it's likely worth looking into.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Still ahead, our local chambers and businesses encourage you to get out and shop all weekend long, but stay local while you do so. More on that ahead. The town of Halton Hills is proud to launch a new Shop Local campaign and has partnered with the Halton Hills Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Georgetown BIA, and Downtown Acton BIA. And it's all in an effort to raise awareness about the importance of shopping at local businesses to support their recovery from the impacts of this COVID-19 pandemic. This campaign also aligns with the Chamber of Commerce's nationwide Canada United initiative. Nikki Wesley shares those details.
Blake Lennox, owner of Burroughs in downtown Oakville, says his business is 60% less when compared to the same time last year. In an effort to bring in more customers, he even started his sale earlier than normal.
We broke for sale about 3 months earlier than we normally would have, and the idea was essentially pretend the season never happened and look forward to fall, which fall is around the corner right now, and we're getting lots of new merchandise in.
In an effort to help small business, the Oakville Chamber of Commerce has partnered with Canada United to bring a unique contest to the community. Chamber President Drew Redden.
This weekend is a nationwide exercise from coast to coast to coast. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce, Ontario Chamber of Commerce, and your Oakville Chamber of Commerce are encouraging everybody to support local and support these businesses that have had a really tough time over the past few months. It's an incredible program that RBC has been leading as well. You shop local this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Go to a restaurant, shop your main street, and then you can take your receipt, you upload it on gocanadaunited.ca, and be entered in a chance to win one of 25 prizes of $10,000 cash for supporting local.
Fantastic. I think it's a great initiative. I read a little bit about it, and I think that there's a lot of people that live in these towns, in these suburbs, and a lot of them were working in downtown Toronto. They're not anymore, so I think it's almost a little bit of exposure and a little bit of a push to get those clients who live in Oakville and now work in Oakville shopping here too.
Every time you tweet with the hashtag Canada United or watch one of their videos, RBC will contribute 5 cents to the Canada United Small Business Relief Fund. Small businesses may apply after August 31st for grants to help them buy PPE and other measures to help them get back on their feet.
No question about it, these businesses have been hit hard. Our community has rallied behind it, but we need to continue to do so. This weekend, the Go Canada United weekend, is a great opportunity for Oakville to come out and support our businesses, support our small businesses that have given so much back to the community. It's time to give back to them as well.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
And while she was down here, she got that beautiful shot of downtown Oakville. As we look into our 5-day weather outlook, you can see that we're expecting highs of 27 degrees both tomorrow and Saturday, and the chance of rain tomorrow, that's only a 30% chance, but with that comes the risk of thunder showers as well. Expect rain on Saturday, so out of the 2 days this weekend, if you're planning any outdoor activities, Sunday is looking like your best bet. Cooler, down to only 22 as our high, and it will remain cooler through the beginning of next week. Full sun expected on Monday, mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday, both days topping out at 27 degrees. And now we'll look to how some of Halton's top companies performed on the markets today. Up next after this short break. Welcome back to Halton News. I'm Jessica Kading, and up now we have the latest from the Burlington Food Bank.
Hi, this is Robin Bailey, the Executive Director of the Burlington Food Bank. And again, we wanted to thank Eric Vanderwall and all of the people over at Joseph Brandt for the tremendous job they've been doing. Again, a reminder, make sure you're wearing your masks when you're indoor or in places where you can't physically distance. Make sure you're washing your hands regularly. Don't touch your face, and making sure that we're doing all of those kind of hygiene things that are going to help us keep this COVID stuff under control here in Burlington and Halton. Knowing that we don't have any cases in the hospital right now was fantastic news. Also, we wanted to remind people that are doing food drives for us here in the community that you can go onto our website, register your event so that we know, because we're getting calls when people are just delivering flyers to people's houses. A lot of people here in Burlington want to make sure that they're giving legitimately to the charities that they want to, And we're really thankful that people want to give to the Burlington Food Bank, but we also want to make sure that people know that your food drive has been registered with us. And finally, we're nearing the end of summer, and as we know, we've heard about kids going back to school and things. We're really going to be missing our student volunteers. And so we're looking for volunteers now that we're going to be able to train and get in here to be able to take over for those student volunteers. So if you have time in the mornings, weekdays, Monday to Friday, please go to our website, register as a potential volunteer, and we'll contact you to see what whether you'll fit in with what we're doing. Thanks so much. And again, if you need help, info@burlingtonfoodbank.ca or 905-637-2273.
For those of you looking for an indoor activity to beat the heat, a reminder that Joseph Brant Museum is open. The special exhibition, Giants, Dragons and Unicorns, The World of Mythic Creatures, organized by the American Museum of Natural History, has been extended straight through to January 3rd, 2021. To learn more about what to expect and how to pre-book your visit, please visit museumsofburlington.ca. The Museums of Burlington is also offering virtual visits for kids. These one-hour weekly Zoom sessions feature live instruction by a museum educator who will guide a series of creative, hands-on, structured activities and crafts that relate to a weekly theme. Programs are designed for children aged 8 to 12. Parental supervision is required for some activities. Programs are 1 week in duration and take place from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. each day. The cost is $25 per week and includes a craft supply bag. Semester 1 starts September 12th through October 24th. To register, please visit museumsofburlington.ca. Approximately 4,300 children and young adults in Canada are affected by cystic fibrosis. This Saturday, in an effort to raise funds for Cystic Fibrosis Canada, the movie Trolls will be featured as an outdoor drive-in experience at Country Heritage Park. Tickets cost $100 per car, and with that you'll receive a $25 tax receipt. The first 100 cars will be given a complimentary snack box, and the movie will start at 8:45. For more information or to buy tickets, please email driveinforcf@gmail.com. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning into Halton News right here on YourTV. We'll be back with another live edition tomorrow night at 5:30. Until then, I invite you to connect with us on social media. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at YourTV Halton. You can also connect with us via email at haltonnews@cogeco.com. Feel free to send us any questions or comments or story ideas. If you'd like more content, please visit us online at yourtv.tv. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading.